The Force Losers Podcast with Brad and Kev.
Welcome back to the hour stopgap between now and when Brad and I actually go like gaming.
The hour stopgap.
That's what this is.
That's what this is.
We're gonna jaw jack for an hour, and then we're gonna go blow some stuff up.
Get blown up
because predominantly, yeah. I mean, we're not like there are some matches where we can just get reamed, but there's others where we hang.
Wasn't it? We had another match where we got like over 100 kills apiece. Or
that
no,
was
you
the last
had like 75. I had 98.
Yeah, we had one of those like hardcore back and forth ones.
No,
which are fun.
Hardcore back and forth. They beat our ass on the ground, would take us up to the ship, and we would push them back.
That's what I'm saying. It was back and forth.
No hardcore. Like back and forth implies that we would beat their ass a little bit.
We did. We pushed them off the damn ship, didn't we?
We held out long enough for the timer.
No. There were a couple phases in there where we were just embarrassing them.
Yeah. Were we?
There was one where like they would like only one or two of those little bastards would push in, and we would just like murk them.
All one or two of them.
Yeah, no, that was one of those little moments. They pushed us onto the ship, and then like they would try to push in, and we'd murk them and push them right back. It was a good one. It was a good match. And as it is, gaming on Friday night and Saturday night is like one of the few things tethering me to sanity. Like, seriously. I don't know if you folks have been paying attention, but it's fucking rough out there. Awkward silence ensues.
Yeah, no, Friday and Saturday it keeps you grounded. Keeps me grounded because, my job sucks. Not so much the job
all
itself.
Jobs suck.
Well, not so much the job itself. It's the fact that I have to work outside for, 10 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm out, and it's 100-degree weather.
Dude, I went to go get my hair cut today. Yeah, well, that's the reality. We've had like 59 days of triple-digit temperatures. So, yeah. So, like, I went to get my hair cut today, right? And it was initially the perfect scenario for when I go get my hair cut. The lovely ladies that were cutting hair today were more content talking amongst themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And like when I sat in the chair, I was like, fuck yes, man, this is a perfect storm scenario. I don't have to make small talk because they're otherwise occupied. I just got to sit here.
That's your perfect storm is like, yes, they're not going to talk to me. They're going to talk to each other.
As an introvert, yes.
That's fair.
Yes. That's like, yes, more of that, please. Because like, I hate small talk. I hate small talk. Like, either we're going to have a discussion and we're going to drill deep on something, we're going to find some commonality, or I'm going to talk about the weather and like want to completely crawl out of my skin, right? But
that's fair.
All that to say, they were talking about like just how rough it is working out here. And then the lady asked me, started talking to me about it, and then we had this moment of consensus where it's like, yeah, people have lost their fucking minds, and it's really fucking hard out here, But I did say there was one little bright spot, and I've got to give it to the younger generation. I got to pass this off to Gen Z because those folks, they're doing it right. I have seen so many Gen Z workers out in the world straight up not take any shit from fucking anybody. And oh my God, every time, like it's happened to me a few times in public, and I swear to God, I go from 6 to midnight.
Oh no, like Gen Z, like even with like the politicians and everything right now, like they're full on like hacking accounts and like posting shit online on these politicians.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it like this, but I feel like Gen Z is like made up of nothing but kids who like if you expect them to shoot up a school. That so you're always friendly to them just to make sure that you're not one of the ones.
No, you know what? You're not entirely off. That was off color, but you're not off base.
Off color. It's the Force Losers.
It was off color, but not necessarily off base because this is the fuck around and find out generation.
Yeah, that's what my wife always says is, it's the fuck around and find out generation.
Dude, because, like, okay, we were watching this horror movie tonight on Netflix. It was called, like, It Follows. Fucking weird.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Weird
I've heard
movie.
about that one.
Fucking weird, right? But, like, they were, spoiler alert, they were running from this entity that is following them, but the entity is so purposefully slow, right? And it never made sense to me because I was like, if this was Gen Z kids, they would all straight up be throwing hands with this thing right now. It'd go from 0 to violence. Like, they would just be throwing hands because Gen Z doesn't fuck around with this bullshit. Like, I have so much respect for that generation. I really do. I really, really do. I don't understand what they're saying half the time because I am now that old, but goddamn, I love them.
And then I was trying to watch a horror movie tonight too, but that got derailed.
How?
I was trying to watch Prey.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't my fault. It was your daughter's fault,
it was
right?
my daughter. Well, no, it was my wife's. I was fully prepared to watch. Sophie was in her high chair. I was feeding her. I was gonna watch Prey while I fed her, and my wife comes out to like yell at the cats about something, and I paused the movie real quick and like. As she's like walking back to the room, and she's like, why in the fuck are you always watching horror movies with Sophie? And I'm just like, it's not a horror movie. She's like, a friend from work told me what about this movie. It's a horror movie. I was like, it's action adventure.
Yeah, I mean, no. Okay, so, and I literally I thought about this because you know me well enough to know that it's spooky season.
Yeah.
August is Summerween, which is Halloween preseason. You mean
it's pre-Thanksgiving?
Sure, if that's what turns your wagon wheel, buddy. I mean, I'll give you all the cranberry salad you want.
Love me some buckets.
So I kicked off my Summerween preseason with Predator, right? Because yes, it has elements of action, but it does have some strong elements of horror. It's like it straddles the line. It's like action horror, right? Because you go back to the first Predator movie, it's like a slasher film in the jungle, but it's like a slasher film set in like Vietnam, right? It's like it has that vibe.
The victims can kind of fight back.
Yeah, and then they still get butchered like you would in a slasher, right? But like Prey is I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but it is the best entry into the Predator franchise since 1 and 2.
Really?
Hands down. I mean, 1 is the GOAT, right? 2 it does not get enough credit. It had some truly off-the-wall stuff going on in that movie.
They're in Manhattan, right?
L.A., and it's like
city.
in the future. Yeah. But it's got Donald Glover in it. It has Gary fucking Busey, and Gary Busey was at that time was just the shot in the arm of insanity that every movie needed.
I was about to say that was after his motorcycle accident, wasn't it?
No, prior to.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it also had Bill Paxton, the great character actor.
Yeah.
You know? So, but my favorite thing about Predator 2 was literally the over-the-top 90s gun handling. Yeah. Like when they'd be clearing corners. A room. Yeah, but like it's always like right up here, right next to the cheek, holding it up high, right? It's so fucking 90s. It's dripping with it, but it's great, right? So I kicked off Summerween with Predator. And since then, I've been tallying it up. Holy shit, I've been immersing myself in horror. I did fucking House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects. I watched all in one day, mind you. This was last Saturday. In one fucking day, I watched every Resident Evil movie, which is another action horror kind of crossover.
They only made 4 movies, didn't they? No,
5, brother.
That's right. I don't think I ever watched 5. The last one I watched is when she's wandering by herself and like everything's a desert.
Oh, Extinction.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was 2 more after that, bud.
Oh, that's number 3?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you playing the home game, I watched 5 Resident Evil movies in a day. Average length was about an hour and a half.
We're all going to die down there.
Dude, I literally watched nearly 8 hours of Resident Evil in one day. That's how hard I was disassociating.
It's a harder undertaking to play all the games. I think they're on 9. Or no, 8.
Really?
No, that's right. Resident Evil Village was the 8th one.
You know what, though? My favorite thing about the Resident Evil movies, because I remember when Resident Evil 1 came out, and I remember when Resident Evil 2 came out. My favorite thing was those two soundtracks to those movies had so many good metal bands on it. Like, those films were, and Freddy vs. Jason was so fucking good for metal bands. Like, the end of Resident Evil 1, the end credits is Slipknot, My Plague. And then the end credits of Resident Evil 2 is Killswitch Engage, The End of Heartache. Like, awesome for metal bands at the time. Fucking A, Resident Evil. Oh, you know what you should watch? And I don't think this movie ever got enough fucking praise. It was like a 2009 remake of The Wolfman. Like the old Universal monster.
I don't think I ever saw it. I know...
Uh-huh.
Because I know Teen Wolf. And I know not horror. I know...
Horror adjacent.
What is it? Wolf in London? American Wolf in London?
Oh, an American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London.
Like that one, that's older than Teen Wolf, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They made a remake of that one, I know, but I never watched it.
I think they did like a sequel, American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh, maybe.
I think I remember seeing that one years ago. But like, no, if you get it, it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu. So if you get a chance, watch it. The cast is fucking incredible. Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, Emily Blunt. Like, it's an all-star cast, and that movie was damn good. Damn good. If you get a chance, get on there and watch the Wolfman. It's great. And then what did I start? I started doing Scream this week. So yeah, literally it's like I'm all of my sites are kind of focused on spooky season, because it's like, oh yes, there's something to work towards. It won't be crazy and hot. It'll still be hot, but maybe it won't be crazy. And if it is crazy, at least my house will be decorated kick-ass. You have any idea how hard I am trying not to decorate my house this instant?
I mean, respect the holidays, man.
What? There's nothing. There's nothing of import. That is after Halloween.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, fuck, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That tells you how in touch I am right now.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm acting like you right now when you're too high.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, no. Well, which is forthcoming, because it is now my tradition to start every gaming evening too high.
Yeah. You do better.
Yeah, you know what? It's fucking weird. I kind of do. I don't know if it's just because I'm more relaxed. Like, I'm not so tense and raccoon handy.
I do better without glasses, apparently.
Hey, you know what? We're not going to fuck with it if it's working. You know, so how the fuck, how do we get here? Holy shit.
It's been a long tangent.
No shit. That was like 6 minutes of tangent.
That's a lot more than 6. That's about 13.
Well, I'm glad we haven't lost our fucking touch.
Yeah.
You know, because fucking, if not consistent, bad. Consistently bad.
I don't know. Apparently podcasts where like you just sit down and have a conversation are in right now.
Yeah, but you actually have to have something interesting to say.
That's fair.
Yeah. Dude, okay. Did you see the fucking weirdo news about Batgirl?
I have not been following that. I know that apparently there was supposed to be a movie and the movie got canceled by Warner Brothers.
Bro, it had been shot. It was in post-production. They had already spent, like, estimated $100 million. And the DC just shelved it. Warner Brothers shelved it. So, okay. So the official word, when it first came out, when that story first broke, the official word was that in test screenings, it was awful. Like, they quoted it, it was, quote, irredeemable. Right? Now, that did not pass the sniff test. I don't care what fucking internet content creator personality took that line and ran with it. If you're thinking critically, a movie being so fucking bad and irredeemable they had to shelf it just does not pass the sniff test. Case in point, how many fucking awful movies are, well, at least Okay, no, wait. Let me backtrack because I don't want to be so I don't want to be with a subjective thing such as like film. I don't want to be so absolute. How many movies are released that are just like the critics are by and large like, and the numbers are by and large, but they still get released.
Yeah.
Right? So that didn't make sense. So you do a little digging, and I sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist. I did a little research. I did my research, bro. But stories started coming out about
truth.
I got the truth here. Fucking Alex Jones. Goddamn demon. But so some other stories came out because you know how Warner Brothers merged with Discovery. That was a merger. So because of the merger and because they're trying to take advantage of certain tax breaks because we're near the end of the fiscal year. October is the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So they have to have all of their tax stuff prepared, and they got to be able to write off certain things. So the consensus and the explanation that does pass the sniff test, because this is actually common when media companies merge and go through these merger processes, that a lot of stuff starts getting axed. A lot of the fat starts to get trimmed. So it looks as if Batgirl was canceled because it would allow, if they shelved it and wrote off the expense as a loss, they'd get a tax write-off, right? Now, adding fuel to that, I don't know if you know who Adam Conover is.
No.
Okay. So Adam Conover had a show on True TV called Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know who that is.
Yeah. So months ago, he made a TikTok explaining what happened to Adam Ruins Everything. And when two major media companies merged and True TV was part of that merger, that's when his show was canceled to kind of make room in the budget for other types of content, right?
Okay.
So he basically put that TikTok back out there explaining like this is likely what happened with the Warner Discovery merger, and this is likely why Batgirl was shelved, because the directors and the cast and crew didn't find out about the cancellation until the story broke. So nobody from Warner Brothers actually reached out to them and said, hey, we're shelving the movie. Now, mind you, this thing had been shot. It was in post-production, right? Michael Keaton came back for this film. J.K. Simmons came back for this film. And it was supposed to release directly to HBO Max. It wasn't even going into theaters. Right?
Okay.
And so, and again, this is just, as a DC fan, this shit was like, wow. And I even said something to the effect of like, DC has now evolved from your messy friend to a hot fucking mess.
Yeah, I remember that tweet.
Yeah, because that's what it is, bro. Like what's going on over there?
I mean, Warner Brothers always been finicky, though.
Oh, they've been fucky as hell, always.
Oh, my God. I mean, we were always saying before, like, they kind of took off more with the DC universe with that they've built so far. We were always saying, that they just make poor business decisions.
Well, I mean, there's a pattern, right? Because I think of, like, when I did some reading up on, like, the making of The Hobbit, because that was a Warner Brothers film. That Warner Brothers had acquired New Line Cinema, right? So that was Warner Brothers, and it was in development for many, many years. And the short and curly of it is that when Peter Jackson came aboard to direct the Hobbit movies after Guillermo del Toro,
Mr. Del Toro
exited the project. Yeah, when he exited the project and Peter Jackson came in, one of the things that Peter Jackson was like trying to express is that I need more prep time, because Warner Brothers was committed to a 2012 release date. No matter what, it has to be released in 2012. Peter Jackson was like, hey, I need more time to prep. I need to, prep this movie like I did The Lord of the Rings. And they were like, nope, hard 2012 release date. So a lot of the stuff during filming was done on the fly. There's even been actors. I forget the name of the actors. He played one of the dwarves. He came out and said there was a whole lot of interference on set from Warner Brothers. I mean, there were all kinds of directives. It was there was a lot of pressure from the studio to do certain things. And then, of course, without getting into all the toxic bullshit, if you juxtapose that with what happened with Justice League, with what's happened with Ray Fisher, and I'm not bringing that up to placate the culty side of that fandom, because that's fucking creepy. I don't know if you've kind of been
I have seen you
tangentially
tearing
aware.
into them, like whoever they are, whatever they stand for. I've been seeing you like tearing into some people who support the Zack Snyder release and all kinds of other shit.
Right, because like I've been a pretty vocal proponent of the Snyder Cut from the jump, right? But my interest in that was always the integrity of artistic vision.
Yeah.
Right? Letting creative people be creative. And it has morphed and evolved into this like creepy cult where like perfect strangers on the internet are referring to a director, a human being, as the boss. And there's harassment, there's bullying, there's all kinds of toxicity coming from that shit. And I saw that, and it's on display because when Batgirl got canceled, that was one of the vocal crowds that were like, good. Because all that crowd wants is the Snyderverse. They want Zack Snyder to come back to Warner Brothers and complete his arc, right? They want him to helm the DCEU. Couple problems with that, right? First off, he had a very negative experience working with that studio, like many others. See Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan fucking left Warner Brothers to go to Universal because of this shit, right?
Yeah.
So problem number one, would you want to go back to work for a toxic-ass place like that?
I
Really?
can think of one that we can both go back to, Kevin.
Nope.
No.
Hard no. God, no. I'm currently wiping my balls across their forehead, so no thank you. But that's problem number one. Problem number two, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen, right? You know, but they were cheering that this film was canceled. I'm like, guys, wait, back up. You wanted so badly to see a cut of a film, to see a director's vision, that you helped create a massive online campaign. And I know people might bring up the Rolling Stone article about the bots, and yes, that's all valid. That's all valid. But you do that to see it, you get the cut, and then you cheer when another creative team, a cast and a crew, get their film shelved for a tax write-off? Like, am I making sense here?
No, yeah, you are. But I mean, it sounds like these dipshits are more in it for, let Zack Snyder build his universe less. Oh, I mean, there's director kind of got fucked over. Why don't we see what he had in mind for everything?
Right. Like, hey, if you're going to be a film studio and you're going to work within creative confines to make creative projects, maybe let creative people be fucking creative and don't just axe months of work and passion. Right? Like, very well, the Batgirl movie could have been a fucking turd. It could have been. But there would still be a lot of fucking people that would have enjoyed it, that would have loved it. Right? Like, it's just... Art is incompatible with laissez-faire capitalism, okay? They don't fucking mesh, right? And it's honestly, like, all of this stuff, honestly, it drains my excitement for DC. In a big, bad way. You know?
Yeah.
Because you remember how awesome it was to be a DC fan from like 2008 to 2017?
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking rad, man. You had the Dark Knight trilogy, and that was fucking kick-ass. You had Man of Steel. I personally love Batman v Superman. If you don't, that's awesome. That's not your jam. No worries. You know, but they were different, and they were trying different things, and it was a stark contrast to Marvel at the time. It was wonderful. Now, it's like The Rock. Like, it's The Rock playing The Rock in another Rock movie.
Shazam?
The Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're, in defense of The Rock, I wouldn't say, I feel like he gets a bad rap for some of the movies he's done in the past. Some.
I don't want to say I'm giving him a bad rap,
but
right?
I would say when you're a big, strong dude, what are you going to be cast as?
No, I mean, and look, I acknowledge with Black Adam, he's been working on this film for like a decade, right? This has been a passion project for him, and I get that. I'm not diminishing The Rock by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I don't know what they're doing with DC.
Yeah.
Right? There's no clear goal. Like, and I understand, like, and I'm not going to do the 1v1 comparison, right? Marvel is Marvel, and they're doing their thing. But with Marvel, you kind of know that there's a long-term strategy, right? They're weaving something.
Well, but we also
over a long term.
had the conversation that we don't know where Marvel's going at this point either.
Yeah, but I mean, we do now after Comic-Con. We know they're doing the multiverse saga, and we have a very clear idea of where they're going for the next couple of years. But I digress. With DC, it's kind of like, if you're going to do something that's connected, do something that's connected. But if you're going to do something that is disconnected and more focused on creator visions and not having to be a whole thing, then do that. State that. Just state that those are your intentions. Yeah. But now they're talking about, like, there's a 10-year, they're going to work on a 10-year plan for DC, and I'm like, dude, just... How about this? Just work on the Batman 2 and I don't know. Fuck. Like, I don't know. With DC, I'm like literally throwing my hands in the air because I look at Black Adam and it looks great. Black Adam looks great. I'm going to go see it. Shazam! Fury of the Gods looks great. I'm going to go see it. Am I going to break down the door to go see it? No. Am I going to lose sleep over it? Like I lost sleep over what we're going to be talking about today at some point? No.
At some point in this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to get to an actual topic, but like, you know, like what we're going to talk about, Obi-Wan. Like, I lost sleep over that fucking thing. Yeah. I was so excited for that thing. I couldn't sleep the night before the premiere. Right? I'm not like my balls aren't tingling because of Black Adam, you know? And I'm sure it's going to be great. In fact, I have not seen Pierce Brosnan in a film that I have not enjoyed.
That's fair.
And he plays Dr. Fate. So, you know, I guess, I don't know. I just, you know, it just sucks that, like, the world will now probably never get to see a whole cast and a whole crew pour their heart and soul into Batgirl. Right?
Is it?
And it probably has.
Is it the same Batgirl verse as the DC show?
No. This is.
No, it's completely different.
This is, yeah, you know, and it probably has nothing to do that the lead actress was a person of color and the directors were, you know, Muslims. It probably had nothing to do with that.
No, man,
nothing
tax write-offs.
Yeah, no, it probably had nothing to do with that. There wasn't some other stupid projects they could have canceled for tax write-offs, but, you know, I digress. Anywho, we're going to pivot because we're professionals and we're really good at this. We're going to pivot.
Talking about tax write-offs, we should go and live in caves to avoid taxes altogether.
At this point, I'm down. I'm down.
Let's go hide in a desert planet to hide from the government.
Yeah, you know what? I feel that. I feel you, Obi-Wan. Yeah. And look, like I said, we're going to pivot from a studio that has no fucking clue what they're doing with their properties and their IP to a studio that actually does know what the fuck they're doing with their IP. And we're going to talk Obi-Wan a couple of fucking months late.
Yeah, we had this conversation about Halo. We had this conversation about Halo.
Now that it's not really on anyone's minds in any tangible way, now we're going to get around to talking about it.
Yeah.
But my God, what a show. What a show.
Yeah.
Like, if I could capture and distill what it felt like during those weeks that we were watching Obi-Wan every Wednesday, if I could bottle that, distill it, it would be the thing that gets me through the next 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
Just the feeling. Because, like I told you, when we were like halfway through that show, I told you, this is every prequel kid's wet dream.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you were a prequel kid, you are being fucking fed, like, hard, you know? And even the premiere was so fucking well handled. It was like the first 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
It did so much to set the tone. I think that's one of the best premieres of any show I've ever seen. Hands down. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, it got you wanting more. Because I think episode 2 was
Dio.
Leia gets kidnapped?
Leia gets kidnapped at the end of episode 1.
That's
or
right.
In episode 1. And episode 2 is when Obi-Wan goes to Dio to find her.
Yeah.
And that's when we get, like, Kung Fu Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Or what's that wasn't the martial art that Kira learned from Maul. That was, I can't remember what that is. Terakasi? No, that's not it. That can't be it. Whatever martial art that Maul knew, that wasn't that. But hand to hand Obi-Wan, pretty fucking sexy. I mean, you get it, Ewan. But it's funny. Like right now with where the world's at and how I'm kind of coping with it, I very much identify with the Obi-Wan of the first episode of just like I'm just fucking existing here.
Yep.
Just fucking existing.
Broken Man part
Obi-Wan
2 was on IO when the Inquisitors showed up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the show goes hard from the jump, because the intro is Inquisitors. It's Inquisitors hunting a Jedi. And you get the Grand Inquisitor, which I don't care what anyone says, that dude fucking nailed it.
I mean, everyone's always going to complain about something.
I mean, like, look, I love Jason Isaacs. That dude plays villains like nobody else. So his rendition of the Grand Inquisitor from Rebels is god tier. Like, god tier. But Rupert Fiend?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I believed that he was the Grand Inquisitor. I believed it from the jump. And, of course, we get introduced to the Terminator of the Star Wars universe, Reva. She's a fucking Terminator.
The Terminator of... I don't know about that one.
Follow me on this, right? Anywhere Obi-Wan was, she would show up. She was chasing him across the damn galaxy. I mean, from episode 2 all the way to, like, episode 5. Like, she's a Terminator. She was unstoppable. She was a T-1000.
She got stopped pretty hard a couple of times.
I'll remind you, she's still alive. She survived Vader twice.
I can think of a few people who've done the same.
No.
Survived Vader.
No, you're not talking to me. You're not hearing me, buddy. Twice. She survived him when she was a youngling, and he stabbed her in the... He lived. Twice. How many people tangle with Darth Vader twice and live to tell the tale? Luke, okay.
The Emperor, technically.
Technically Obi-Wan. Okay, so that's 2.
The Emperor.
Okay, that's 3. Keep trying. Because I'm still on one hand, buddy.
I didn't say there would be a lot. Hand.
Yeah, exactly. That means she is one of 4, as far as we know right now, that have survived 2 encounters with Darth Vader. Okay? I will hear no slander of Reva in this house. And I can't wait to see what comes with her next. I can't wait to see where she goes next.
Do you think we're gonna see her again?
Okay, so here's my dream scenario.
Okay.
All right, this is my dream fan speculation. Okay, we get a series about the path, because in Quinlan Voss is involved with the path. Mm-hmm. So my dream scenario is we get a live action series that basically centers around Reva. She is the main character, and it's about the...
It's almost like it's
get atonement. Well, yeah, it's almost like it's poetry, and it rhymes. But we never get atonement. Very rarely do we get atonement. We get redemption a lot, but we don't get atonement. So atone for her misdeeds as an inquisitor.
Holy
wow. Those flew right off your head. Folks, he's haunted, apparently, because his headphones were just, like, flung right off his head.
Yeah, no, my cat jumped up trying to get my attention and, like, landed on the cord underneath my desk.
Wow. No, I'm going to go with a ghost. I think
yeah,
the ghost we were talking about earlier, we're just going to go with ghosts. Anyway, so then the show centers around Reva, and to atone for her past, she endeavors to help the path instead of trying to hunt it. And in the show, we can get Quinlan Voss in there. We can get Cal Kestis, right? Cal fucking Kestis. And here, look, even the actor Dominic Moynihan, he's been real cheeky about live action Cal Kestis. He's been cheeky as fuck about it. So yes, I mean we're jumping ahead to the ending of the series, but of course, Reva has this opportunity to snuff Luke out, and she doesn't. And that's her redemption moment. She finds her humanity again. She comes back to the light, right? And then it's Obi-Wan that basically says, like, no, you're better than Vader because you chose to be better, right? You're not him.
Yeah.
That's got to be setting up a further story with Reva. Like, come on. And plus, you don't get an actress like Moses Ingram to act her ass off like that, to sell you on that character, never to use her again. Fuck all the way off. Like, bring her back immediately. I need that this instant.
Yeah.
Right? So,
God, was
like,
it only 6 parts?
Yeah. It's a limited series, right? It's a limited series. And one of the things that bothered me at the end of it was like all the these media outlets were like, what about Obi-Wan 2? And I'm like, we don't need an Obi-Wan 2. You get Obi-Wan 2. It's Rebels, Twin Sons. And then you get Obi-Wan 3, A New Hope. Like the important parts of Obi-Wan's story have basically been told. Could they do something more with it? Sure. Does that necessarily mean that I want them to?
Yeah. I mean, but also there's a lot of people who have problem with Twin Sons. There's a lot of people who have problems with how this new Kenobi series went. So.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Suck it. Cope. Because I don't care. I think these 6 episodes were so masterfully done. Like, for me, there's not a weak link in the chain. There's just not.
Yeah.
Like, episode 1 sets up the premise of the series beautifully. Episode 2 and 3 and 4, like, you get to see, like, if you go to episode 3, you get probably the most terrifying depiction of Darth Vader I have ever seen in Star Wars.
Oh, when he's walking through the village?
Yes, he snaps a kid's neck just 'cause.
Yeah. Well,
he drags a woman along the ground just 'cause.
Well, he's trying to lure out Obi-Wan. He's basically daring Obi-Wan to come out and stop him.
Yeah. Like, for my money, it's one of the most terrifying Darth Vader moments. And then, of course, you get this wonderful sequence. I say wonderful in a really fucked up way, but, like, it's Obi-Wan experiencing sheer terror because in that moment, he's literally fighting a ghost.
Yeah.
And a ghost that scares the shit out of him because he's not his equal.
Not
right?
anymore.
Like, no, yeah, because the Battle of the Heroes at the end of Revenge of the Sith, that's Obi-Wan and Anakin as equals, right? This encounter in Episode 3 is not that, by any stretch of the imagination.
And Vader gives Obi-Wan a taste of his own medicine.
Dude,
just kind of
like,
drags him through some coals there for a minute.
Yeah, because, like, when have you ever seen a Jedi Master struggling to survive an encounter like that?
But see, in that situation, I feel like Obi-Wan was thrown off because he is still thinking about Vader as Anakin.
Yes.
Like, this is still Anakin, like, someone who he thought was dead, someone who was his brother, who he loved.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the whole thing throughout the entire show, is that Obi-Wan cannot divorce Vader from Anakin.
No.
They're one and the same to him, right? It's not until the very end of the show, their final duel, where he realizes Anakin is dead, and it's not even so much realized as he is told.
Yeah.
Anakin is dead by Vader, and of course we all know that that's not entirely true. It's true from a certain point of view. Hey, but it's not entirely true, right? Like, there's still a little bit of Anakin in there. Even the way they shot that scene where Vader's all fucked up and his mask is all fucked up.
I was about to say, notice that when he tells Obi-Wan that Anakin is dead, it's when Anakin's face is being shown.
Yeah, and it's lit with blue. Yeah. Right? And as it goes into I killed him, that's when it goes to the red, right? It's a beautiful piece of visual storytelling. That's the moment, right? Because, in Return of the Jedi, the walkway scene where Luke is captured and he's trying to plead with Vader, and he said, Obi-Wan once thought as you do. That's that series. He's referring to that series because the entire series, Obi-Wan still thinks that's Anakin in there. Like on episode 3, when they get to that planet, or on episode 4, when they get to that planet and they meet the MAGA guy, the MAGA truck driver guy, the Imperial sympathizer.
I love how that's how you describe him, the MAGA guy. That's
what he is. He's one of the MAGA guys. He's like, nothing wrong with a little order, huh? As long as you're sacrificing all your rights and privileges. Yay. But there's that moment on that planet when they first get there that Obi-Wan has a vision of Anakin because he feels Darth Vader's presence. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like Vader to him, so he sees Anakin. The Force gives him that vision of Anakin. He's connected to Anakin.
Yeah.
And then even in episode, was that 3? Yeah, no, this was 4. 3 was the MAGA guy. Yeah. 4 was when they actually rescue Leia from the Fortress Inquisitorius.
Yes, when we see all the Jedis in Frozen.
Yeah,
that was fucking creepy,
dude.
And can I actually just bring up something? Hayden Christensen plays a really good evil Anakin.
Yeah, he does.
Like just from the way he looks, because he looks like you see Anakin. It's still Anakin, but he just has like that age grit about him.
Yeah,
where it's like, he oh god.
Well, I mean, like the whole parallels in episode 4 when they're doing the parallels and there's the flashback to Obi-Wan and Anakin training at the temple.
Yeah,
even that Hayden Christensen was able to completely embody Anakin Skywalker at that time, right? Because that was pre-Clone Wars. That was probably right before the events of Attack of the Clones.
I was about to say that was right before they went to go protect Padme, probably.
Exactly. Well, because I mean, you could tell because it was this is one of those subtle things they do. Those one little details is that Hayden Christensen's actually holding Anakin's lightsaber from Episode 2, which is different than the Skywalker lightsaber, than the Legacy lightsaber. So. The parallels between all that, not the parallels. Hayden Christensen's performance it's Anakin from Episode 2.
Yeah,
to a T. Like he just slipped right back into that
role.
role.
Of a belligerent brat.
Well, yeah,
he hasn't seen war yet.
Yeah, because what you understand, what that scene made very clear to me is that I know Hayden Christensen had, back in the day, if you were old enough to remember all the prequel hate. He got a lot of shit for his performance as Anakin, right? But seeing him slip back into that performance for that portion of the show, those flashback scenes, made me realize that every decision he made at the time they did episode 2 and 3, every decision how to play that character was deliberate.
Oh, yeah.
That's the vibe I got. That's the conclusion I came to. Because if it wasn't deliberate, if those decisions weren't deliberate, how do you so easily slip back into that role? Because it's seamless. To me, at least to my mind's eye, it's seamless.
Well,
but then you're right.
I think I saw someone point out that one of Anakin's trademark maneuvers for fighting is that fucking spin slash.
Mm-hmm.
It's he does it in episode 2 3 times. Mm-hmm. He did it in the flashbacks for Kenobi.
Right.
A couple of times, I think, actually.
Yeah. And you were right, though. You're right when you're saying that, Hayden Christensen now plays an amazing evil Anakin or evil Vader under the mask. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That dude crushed it. And even the Order 66 flashbacks were wow, he's terrifying. Mm-hmm. He's terrifying. And then also on the same token, you got to hand it to Ewan McGregor. That dude he is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Period. There's no one that never needs to play that character ever again.
Yeah.
That's it. It's his character now. He owns it. Because especially episode 4 was one of my favorites because that's the when they break into the Fortress Inquisitorius.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about that is you start to see Obi-Wan slide back into the role of a Jedi Master. He starts to feel like a Jedi Master again because what is he doing? He's doing the same thing he would have done in the Clone Wars. He's executing a batshit crazy plan.
Yeah.
Right?
He's executing a plan that Anakin would have thought of.
Precisely. That's exactly what he did. He did something that his fucking insane brother from the Clone Wars would have been like, hey, you know what's a really fucking rad idea? Let's swim into it. Like, and then let's just go through the hallways
To be
hacking
fair,
through
didn't Cal
stormtroopers.
in what is it? In
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order, didn't Cal have the same idea?
That's a good question. I only played through that game once, so I can't remember.
Yeah, no. When they get to into the Inquisitorius, I think the way you get in is actually to swim down and then like come up a like half submerged passageway.
Oh yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, that was probably my. I mean, obviously, I think my favorite episode is the final episode, just because that's the emotional payoff. But then again, episode 5 is.
I will say, like, episode 5 with the siege on the hangar.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I mean, Vader holding back an entire starship and then bringing it back down to the ground is, like, yes, people might be like, oh, it's OP, and I don't give a fuck. That was some metal shit.
I mean,
that was some straight up metal shit.
These, like, that same exact, like, capacity for power has been done several times. I mean, you have Rey and Kylo in the third one.
Rise of Skywalker.
They pull down the transport, and they would have pulled it down if Rey hadn't shot Force Lightning at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in Legends, fucking Starkiller pulls a fucking Star Destroyer out of orbit.
Yeah. And then on top of that, though, the duel between Reva and Vader was top tier, man. Top tier for me.
I remember it being more emotional than anything, because I remember
But that's why.
I just remember Reva trying her ass off and not being able to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, though. That's why it's one of those top-tier ones. And if you think about it, all of the best duels in Star Wars are the ones that are laden with emotion. All of them. Like Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, some top-tier duels. Battle of the Heroes, Revenge of the Sith. Why is that duel so effective? Because it is emotional. Yeah, it's fucking flashy and it's amazing to watch, but it's also incredibly emotional at its core. Probably one of the more significant duels of the sequel trilogy is from Rise of Skywalker on the ruins of the Death Star. Why? It's emotionally charged, So that, with Reva desperately trying to kill Vader, I felt... Here's why I related to that. Because that woman was swinging, right? She was swinging. But all for naught. She could not break that guy. And why I relate to that is because that's how I feel every goddamn day. I'm just swinging at something that I cannot fucking break. You know what I mean? And again, that's the significance of these stories. It's not just a whiz bang, but it's how can you relate to it? How can you use the escapism of this thing and relate to it and contemplate that and ingest that and let that ruminate a little bit. Like, that's the powerful stuff.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you have Obi-Wan's new friend who full on grenades herself.
Oh man,
why do all the like droids that just warm our hearts have to die?
It seems to be a tradition now.
Yeah,
it seems to be a tradition. Yeah, I mean, nothing was really as rough as K2SO. That one hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, K2SO still scars me.
L3 didn't hurt as much because I feel like it was quicker.
Well, she's technically not dead.
Well,
she's in the Millennium Falcon.
That just made us love her more.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
it was still sad, like, the way she goes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're right. K2SO probably hurt the
most. But still, pour one out for L3, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the loader droid from Kenobi, yeah.
What was it?
How
something?
I don't even know what his designation number was.
God damn it!
He deserves to be remembered.
That's right.
It deserves to be remembered. They deserve to be remembered because that droid, it gave all. It gave all. But I mean, like, what I like about that scene, and I'm blanking on the character's name, and that's my bad. I'm a piece of shit for it. But what I loved about that scene is that Ned B. Okay. What I loved about that scene between Ned B and the character, God, I'm a piece of shit for not remembering the name. It's these people that are willing to sacrifice everything to save persecuted people. Because again, it's not just Jedi that they're smuggling. It's also Force-sensitive people. It's people that are Force-sensitive. And at this point in the canon, we don't know what the Empire's really doing with Force-sensitive people that they track down and find. We don't know what the Inquisitors are really doing.
Yeah.
We know that if they find Jedi, they're going to stick them in some amber and wait for the next Jurassic Park movie. But when it comes to hunting Force-sensitives, we don't know. But we do know this. The child from Episode 2, that the con man character. Again, I suck with names tonight. Holy shit.
The con man character?
Yeah, the guy who was posing to be a Jedi and conning people out of their money. He was conning them out of money, but he was also smuggling off-world, so he was kind of doing a good thing and a bad thing. You know, the child that he's smuggling when you first meet him. Yeah. When you first meet him.
Or that's the actor.
Oh, yeah. The young child that he's smuggling out of there, in the credits, his name is Corrin, and he was being smuggled to Corellia. That is an EU reference, brother. That is a reference to Corrin Horn.
That's what I say.
Yeah. And why that matters to me is that I, Jedi was one of the first EU Legends novels that I ever read, was I, Jedi. I remember buying that from a Barnes & Nobles way back in the day, and I know people have feelings about Corrin Horn, and I'm sorry, but it matters to me. And to see Corrin Horn in the credits was fucking rad. You know, but then and again, it's those little things. It's the little things that the Lucasfilm team puts into this stuff. That's how you take care of your fans.
Yeah.
And I know there's elements that would disagree with me, and that's fine. But it's the stuff like that. That's how you keep your fans satisfied. That's how you keep them engaged. Is little stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then give them a 6-part Obi-Wan series that completely emotionally wrecks us. Because that finale was emotional damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But in the best way.
Like,
and I love...
Is it wrong? Like, is it selfish that I want something similar for the Ahsoka series?
No, it's not wrong at all. And, Ahsoka... So, like, with Obi-Wan, they were able to drill much deeper into the character, and they were able to give this character a really satisfying arc to go from emotionally broken, damaged, dealing with regret and guilt, and then still having a job to do, still having to watch over Luke, but not knowing what you're watching over him for, not knowing what the hope is.
Yeah.
Right? Because he can't see the hope because he's not allowed to be around Luke.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't see the hope until he has to rescue Leia. Right? Leia is the one that kind of rekindles that fire for him. Leia is the one that helps him see what he is still doing.
And by the way, can we please let's call Owen and Beru the real MVPs of the last episode?
The goats.
Jesus.
The goats.
They beat the shit out of Reva.
They went full on Home Alone on Reva, dude.
Oh my god.
I'm just wondering, like, and maybe I'm out of pocket for saying this, but where was that energy when the Empire showed up on your doorstep, guys?
They were fucking old at that point.
So, they're capable. Where was that energy? Why the hell did you let them, some stormtrooper, some stupid...
I didn't see no laser musket next to them charred corpses.
I'm just saying. But you're right. Owen and Beru are the goats. And I sympathize with Owen and Beru, man. Like, they're not... Like, Obi-Wan is like... He's watching over the children of the... He's watching over one of the kids of the Chosen One. Okay? Like, Bail and Brea are watching over Padme's kid. Anakin Skywalker's kid. Right? Like, all Owen and Beru are trying to do is just raise this kid right, man. Like, just keep him safe and raise this kid right. That's all they're trying to do.
Make him drink his blue milk.
Yeah, they're just trying to make sure that he has his blue milk right before Betty buys. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, it's... But you know what? you got to shout out the young actress that played Leia. I mean, she nailed it.
Oh yeah.
They were able to nail the essence of Leia, you know.
God, she's
and you got to Oh yeah, but you got to regret how not regret. You have to respect. I can't fucking speak tonight, okay? This is going to be a fucked up episode cuz I just cannot get my thoughts together. But you have to respect how she gives Obi-Wan the business every fucking chance she gets. And that applies to everyone. Any chance she gets, she's going to give someone the business, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I respect it.
I love how, like, in this, Leia and Vader both got a chance to roast Obi-Wan.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But, well, okay, let's get back to that, though, man. That scene where Vader's dragging Obi-Wan over these burning rocks, that was probably one of the most brutal things you've ever seen in Star Wars. Like, am I wrong? That's got to be one of the most brutal things. There was a lot of brutality in this show.
Well, yeah.
There was a lot of brutality.
It's Vader at his peak.
Right.
Like, we see, like, the times that we see Vader in the original trilogies, he's, like, late in the third one, he's, like, trying to fight Luke, but he's conversing with Luke mostly, like, and then once he, like, other than that, he's on the decline. The only other time you see him is when he's walking down hallways or, like, you know, talk, like he's giving orders or walking down hallways. You know,
yeah.
You see it kind of when he talks to Captain Antilles.
No, not Antilles.
It's not Antilles. It's the guy who he chokes to death in
at Admiral Ozzel.
I don't remember. But it's on the ship from episode 4. The very opening scene.
Yeah.
You know, you.
Oh yeah, that is a Captain Antilles.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
yeah.
You know, you caught a glimpse of it in Rogue One in the hallway scene.
Oh yeah.
Because that honestly was the first time you ever saw, like, Vader putting in some work. I don't want to call him lazy or anything, but
no, but you're wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like in the original trilogy, Vader's job was to walk down hallways menacingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like this era of Star Wars we're in right now, they're leaning into like, oh no, Vader is terrifying.
Yeah.
He is terrifying.
There is a reason he is one of the most highly rated scary villains ever. I think he's number 1 actually.
Yeah. And this show demonstrates that.
Yeah. No, like this show demonstrates it when he's walking down the street of a village talking indirectly to Obi-Wan, and he's force choking people, snapping their necks, dragging them across the street. He used his lightsaber on one of them, didn't he?
No. That's the thing. In that entire scene, Vader said nothing.
I thought he did.
He said not one word.
That's right.
His actions were speaking.
And it was the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors were talking.
Yeah, Vader was just, he knew he could draw out Obi-Wan with just violence, with just making people suffer. He knew that would draw him out. And like I said, this show was brutal, but it shouldn't have been any surprise because the show opens with Order 66.
Yeah.
Because it's like right off the bat, no, we're going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
What's that? You see this group of younglings? Oh, goodbye.
And then like, even the final confrontation, right, between Obi-Wan and Vader's still terrifying. And he gets the upper hand for the first half of that. He literally tries to bury Obi-Wan alive.
Yeah.
But he makes the same mistake. Well, again, he made the same mistake that Obi-Wan made on Mustafar. Obi-Wan chopped Anakin to pieces and thought, well, he's on fire. Job well done. Let's get out of here.
Sizzled like this.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Job well done. And Vader makes the same mistakes. Well, I buried him under a couple tons of rock. Job well done. Let's get out of here. And of course he made the same mistake. You cannot, with these guys, you gotta take their head off, man. You have to live by zombie rules. Okay.
Double tap.
Yeah, you gotta double tap them in the head. Okay. They will get back up. But it did give us that amazing moment where have you ever seen Obi-Wan do anything that powerful?
No.
Like lift all of those rocks just to fling them at him?
That's the first time, like, I don't even think in the Clone Wars series or anything like that, you never see Obi-Wan exert effort over the Force. He is
Not like that.
No, well, not even, like, he might pick something up and bring it to him, but most of the time, like, all you see him in saber combat because he is a duelist.
And then, like, I think the coolest Force thing I've ever seen Obi-Wan do is actually in the Clone Wars, that arc of episodes where they're on that slaver planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, at the opening episode, he actually crushes a droid with the Force.
Yeah.
That's the most fucking exertion of the Force I've seen Obi-Wan do.
He's a duelist before he's a Force sensitive. Like
Right.
like I remember, isn't it the like canon that Obi-Wan and Windu typically dueled each other?
I don't know.
I remember,
I don't know about that.
I remember them being dueling partners.
I remember in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, Mace Windu specifically assigns Grievous to Obi-Wan on Utapau because Obi-Wan's dueling style is primarily defensive, and he would be the best Jedi to actually take on Grievous, because when Obi-Wan's in his flow, you're not getting anything past him. He's a very defensive duelist, and actually, because like in Episode 1, he was more of an offensive duelist, right? Because at the time, if the canon still holds like that, at the time he was studying Ataru, the kind of the more acrobatic form of lightsaber combat. But it was after his encounter with Maul that he switched to a more defensive style because, he had never... saber to saber combat before the Phantom Menace was rare. Yeah. Very rare, if it never happened at all. Because, Maul was the first Sith to reveal himself openly in generations. Yeah. So, and you see that on Mustafar, right? Most of the aggressive stuff from Revenge of the Sith is Anakin, and it's mostly Obi-Wan kind of flowing with it, Yeah. Like, it'd be like Obi-Wan is more kung fu, he goes with the flow.
He redirects energy.
Exactly. Anakin or Vader is more like a berserker.
He's a barbarian.
Yeah. Well, there is a difference between how Anakin Skywalker fought and how Vader fought.
Yeah.
Vader is like, it's like he's swinging a claymore.
Well, like the style between the two is Anakin is trying to break through something. He is trying to get through. He doesn't care what defenses you put up. He feels that if he breaks through it, he's truly defeated you. Right. Whereas Vader is just using, like, he'll use one hand to hold you down and the other one to cut your head off. Yeah. Like, he would rather crush your defenses, drag you out of it, and then kill you.
Yeah, and then I don't know. This is I've heard this before. I don't know if it's official, but it makes sense in my head. Is that like Vader's so powerful because Sith are fueled by hate, rage, but pain as well. Yeah. But pain as well, and Vader's in constant pain. Yeah, like constant pain. Yeah, so like he has this.
I remember I heard somewhere like, Vader's suit is actually, by the time you get to the original trilogy, it's very outdated. And he refuses to change any of the systems on his suit because he wants to continue to feel the pain, either A, to supply his power, or B, because he still blames himself for Padme.
Oh, yeah. We all have to realize, like, Vader's fucked up.
Vader's a very miserable human being.
Oh, yeah, he is not a happy person at all, by any stretch of the imagination. And he's fucked up. Yeah. He's fucked up. Like, anyone who's ever lost themselves in something or because of something can relate to Darth Vader, right? Because this guy's fucked up. Yeah. Right? And even look, at the end of the Obi-Wan series, he was clearly beaten, and Obi-Wan did the most frustrating thing that Vader could imagine. He walked away. Yeah. He said, "Goodbye, Darth." Right? And that was it. That was Obi-Wan moving on, letting go, doing what a Jedi was supposed to do. Let go. Yeah. Right? And what's Vader doing? Obsessing over Obi-Wan. He even he was talking to the Emperor at the end of the show, saying, I can still find him, essentially. I could still find this guy. And even the Emperor was like, bitch, let it go.
I was about to say, even at that point, I think it was like Palpatine's exact wording was, you need to not worry about a single Jedi. Mm-hmm. Because in that whole, like, in the whole chase sequence, Vader told the Imperial forces, ignore the fucking rebels making their way off. Follow that ship because that has Kenobi.
Well, yeah, Obi-Wan said it in Episode 5. He'll only see me. Because Obi-Wan knows that Vader's obsessed with him. Obsessed with him. Because, in some fucked up part of Vader's head, he blames Obi-Wan for everything. Well, not directly. Like, he knows that he killed Anakin Skywalker, but he still hates Obi-Wan for the role he played in it. He probably has some kind of fucked up way of blaming Obi-Wan for Padme. You turned her against me.
I was about to say, before he chokes Padme, he's yelling at Obi-Wan, "You turned her against me," wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And and I also picked this up on the show. It's Obi-Wan is so quick to reference Padme whenever he's around Leia. He always kind of gives her cryptic hints about her mother, and you always have these little points of dialogue where you know that Obi-Wan's talking about Padme, but very rarely does he talk about Anakin until the very end. And he only talks about Anakin at the end of the show because he's accepted the fact that Anakin is gone.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much that was subtly done. There's so much subtlety in this show.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally, for me, it's if I had to say, like, for me, the two strongest projects that we've gotten, the top three strongest projects we've gotten from the Disney era of Star Wars, it would be Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Last Jedi, and Rebels, and that's in no particular order.
Yeah.
That's in no particular order. I'm just talking about the strength of these projects. Obi-Wan is so high up there. Masterfully done. Masterfully. I don't give a shit what anyone has to say. You can take your comments and you can suck it. But yeah, there's not a weak link in that show. There's just not.
I mean, and each episode makes you want more. Even the sixth one, which ends it.
Yeah. And that was a tough couple of weeks because every day that wasn't Wednesday was a struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, this is one of the shows, like, we would watch it before going to work, both of us. Mm-hmm. And we'd message each other afterward, like, before we would go to work, even. It's just like, dude, did you watch the episode? Yeah, I watched the episode.
Dude, because, like, there's not another property that's going to make me wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch a new episode. Mm-hmm. There's just not. And I love Marvel. I love the MCU. I love Miss Marvel. I thought it was one of the freshest, most completely breath of fresh air, wonderfully written, wonderfully executed MCU shows that we've gotten to date. But I still did not wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it. I would wait till my lunch break, right?
Yeah.
But with Obi-Wan, my alarm clock went off at 4, and like in a haze, I would immediately grab my phone and go to the app and like, all right, let's watch Obi-Wan. Woo! Like, there's not another property that makes me do that. Period. Until September. That's probably going to change in September. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not going to lie. These trailers are making me want to watch it, too.
I am telling you, man. I cannot. That show, when it drops, I'm very, 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 very confident that by the end of it, my top two things of 2022 that I will have watched would be Obi-Wan and Rings of Power.
Yeah.
I'm very confident. Because it's something that you're waiting for. It's something that you're anticipating, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the anticipation for Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
It was intense. It was intense.
I remember my anticipation for Halo.
Right? Because it's like sometimes you can't breathe until you get this fucking thing. And I know how that might come off because it's all about fucking we're just trying to escape reality for a few minutes, but goddamn it, that escape matters. The couple hours that you can zone out and you can immerse yourself in something that isn't this shit show. Oh my god, that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
So Rings of Power, yeah. I'm starting to lose sleep over that one, and I'm starting to avoid as much as I can about it. Because I want to go in with as fresh a set of eyes as I can manage.
Any new news I'm gonna get, I'm just gonna send you a cryptic text message.
Yeah, the dumbest piece of news I read tonight was an article from People magazine, and this is a prime example of trying to stir up controversy where there is none. The headline was Peter Jackson ghosted by Rings of Power crew, right? Or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. Ghosted was used. The word ghosted was used. And the whole bulk of the article was like, they had reached out to Peter Jackson early on to see if he would want to be involved. And his whole thing was, but it starts with a script, so send me some scripts and we'll talk about it. Right? They never sent him any scripts, and they moved forward and they made their series, right? And Peter Jackson's own words were like, "That's fine, that's great. I look forward to viewing it as a natural fan. I am very much looking forward to this show, right?" The whole reality was like, "Oh yeah, they talked to me in the beginning, but nothing came of it. But I'm still really excited to see it." But they formatted the article in a way to be like gin up like to gin up controversy where there isn't any. Like, fuck you, man.
Controversy sells.
It's so fucking bullshit.
Why I
It's
don't,
so
like, my wife is always asking me, why don't you go follow the news? Why don't you watch the news? Why don't you care about what goes on in the world? I'm like, because the fucking news lies. The news is just there to get ratings. There's still a fucking TV show.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We do live in a corporate media landscape.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't trust the news. I don't give a shit what they have to say. I'm living my life, and I'm making my choices based off of what I see in the world. Yeah.
I mean, for my part, where I gather my information is primarily from international markets, because in other international markets, you don't have the same level of profiteering that goes on. It's not so corporate.
Yeah.
So there's not always a profit motive. A lot of international outlets are very consistent as far as, here's the information, here's the context, do with it what you will.
Yeah.
So I tend to get a lot of my stuff from that end of it, and then I kind of filter it through my own thinking process to try to come to my own conclusions with it. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Avoiding American media is not a terrible way of going about it. It's because you have to be careful about where you're getting your information from, right? Now, I always go to like certain apps. So like Ground News is really my favorite because it will tell you what the left, right, center bias is of the outlet in the article. So you go into reading something knowing, okay, well, there's this type of bias towards it. So if you're already prepared for the bias, you are then prepared to remove the bias from the information that you're consuming, right? You're able to look at something that's clearly biased and be like, all right, that's biased. And I call it, I don't call it this, I didn't coin the phrase, but I call it the sniff test, right? When you read something,
that, like, twice so far in this podcast.
Right, and that's kind of how I gauge things, is when I'm reading something and I'm thinking critically about it, does it pass the sniff test?
Yeah.
Does it pass? It is a little bit like, oh, how does it feel? Does it feel correct? But it's more like, does this just make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And again, with the Batgirl thing, does it make sense that a film was completely irredeemable, that it had to be shelved? No, that doesn't fucking make sense. You just released Super Pets. Fuck off. like, I'm not knocking on Super Pets. I'm really not.
It sounds like
you're
knocking on Super Pets.
I know. I'm just using it to make a point. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's yeah. You're not wrong though. You're not wrong. I'm here to all that to say, you're not wrong. But anyway, final thoughts on Obi-Wan?
Want more. Bring me more now.
Yeah, my final thoughts are can't wait for Andor.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, only a few weeks, man. That one looks fucking good. Plus, I really like the showrunner. Tony Gilroy, I think it's his name. I really like his stuff, so I'm fucking I'm all for it. Are you looking at porn?
Yes.
Oh, well, right on.
No, I haven't seen the Andor trailer yet, so I'm bringing it up so that way after this I can watch it.
Oh, well, fucking Well, so let's sign off. That way you can watch the Andor trailer and I can get my Xbox fired up, because we all know what's important right now.
Gaming.
That's getting our shit blown up.
Yeah.
So, here we are. The end of another episode. We did it. Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Intrepid Co-host. They can find me on Xbox at Grenadier117. They can find me on PC, mostly Steam, at Pandora117. That's it. That's
all right.
Yeah. Where can they find you, Kevin?
Y'all motherfuckers can find me on Twitter at Force_losers when I deign to tweet, when I deign to interact. You also can find me on Xbox at ForceLoserKev88. That's all caps because I'm an asshole. I have an Instagram, but I don't fucking post there very much. So fuck all the way off with that one. As far as the podcast goes, you can find it anywhere you can find podcasts.
Yeah.
So if you've made it this far, you now need to just live with your life choices. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Again, thank you guys so much. If you've made it an hour and 14 minutes into this garbage, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. We will be back very soon with another episode in which we will talk about something of note and something interesting. I hope. Maybe. Probably not. Anyway.
I want to say it's Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay, Love and Thunder. Loved that movie. Thunderous applause. Yay. Okay. All right, let's sign. I'm fucking rambling, so let's go ahead and sign off. Are you fucking ready?
I'm ready.
All right, and a one, and a two, and a three. Later, bitches!
Motherfucker.